Welcome to Great Expectations. In Chapter 4, Pip's life changes as a mysterious benefactor offers him the chance to become a gentleman. Let's dive into this pivotal moment in his journey. Four years later, a lawyer from London paid me a visit. I was still working with Joe in the forge. The lawyer's name was Mr. Jaggers. His news would change my life. "Joseph Gargery, my client would like to take this young fellow off your hands," he said. "He will be taken care of for the rest of his life. I am prepared to pay you for your loss." "I won't take money," said Joe. I would never stand in Pip's way. If there is another future for Pip, he is free to go. Mr. Jaggers then turned to me. "You will soon receive a handsome sum," he said. "The person giving you this money wants you to be brought up as a gentleman, as a young fellow of great expectations."
My dream had come true. I was so excited that I hardly heard what the lawyer said next. "Two conditions come with the gift," said Mr. Jaggers. "You must keep the name Pip, and your benefactor's name must be a secret. It will be told to you in time." "Everything has been arranged," continued Mr. Jaggers. "You will move to London. There you will be taught by Mr. Matthew Pocket and live with his son, Herbert. I knew that the Pockets were relatives of Miss Havisham. She must be my benefactor. Mr. Jaggers kastade en väska med mynt på arbetsbänken. "Buy new clothes," he ordered, looking me up and down. "You shouldn't come to London dressed in work clothes."
"I am thunderstruck," said Joe. So was I. In my heart, I knew it was terrible to be so happy. I wanted to leave my dear good Joe. "The sooner you leave, the better," said Mr. Jaggers. "Take a coach to London in 1 week and meet me at my office." He handed me his card and left. Joe and I ran to the house to tell Biddy the good news. My sister was sitting in her chair in the corner. Biddy was sitting closer to the fire, sewing. Joe burst into the room. He slapped his hat on the table. "Pip is now a gentleman of fortune," he announced, "and God bless him in it." Biddy dropped her work and looked at me. Joe smiled at me. After a moment, they both congratulated me, but there was a sadness in their words that made me angry. Why couldn't they be more happy for me? After all, this was the chance I had been waiting for all my life. At supper, Joe and Biddy kept congratulating me. "You're going to be a gentleman," they said over and over. They seemed unable to believe that such a good thing could happen to me. Somehow, I didn't like that much. That night, I lay on my bed feeling sad and lost. I couldn't understand it. On the first night of my bright fortunes, I felt lonelier than ever. I wondered if Miss Havisham had plans for me to marry Estella. This thought cheered me up, and I fell into a deep sleep. The next day, I ordered new clothes from the tailor. They were made from the finest materials I had ever seen. They were also very expensive. The clothes cost more money than Joe earned in 1 month. Joe and Biddy were impressed when I showed them off. "I want to say goodbye to Miss Havisham," I told them, and hurried across town. When I arrived, Miss Havisham was using a cane to walk around the wedding feast room. She saw me and stopped at the rotten cake. "I have come into such good fortune since I last saw you, Miss Havisham," I said. "I am so grateful." I made sure not to let on that I thought she was my benefactor. "Aye," replied Miss Havisham. "Mr. Jaggers told me the news, Pip. So you are adopted by a rich person?" "Yes, Miss Havisham." "Not named?" "No, Miss Havisham." "And Mr. Jaggers is your guardian?" "Yes, Miss Havisham." "Well, you have a promising career before you," she said. "Goodbye, Pip. You will always keep the name of Pip, you know." She stretched out her hand. I went down on one knee and put her hand to my lips. There seemed to be no other way to thank her. On the morning of my trip to London, I hurried through breakfast. I was scared and excited at the same time. I couldn't wait to become a gentleman. I kissed my sister goodbye. Biddy had tried to tell her about my good fortune. My sister laughed and nodded as if she understood. I kissed Biddy and threw my arms around Joe. Then I quickly left. I walked by myself to the village. If I boarded the coach there, no one would see Joe's rundown house. On the way, I broke down in tears. Goodbye, my dear friend Joe, I whispered as the coach rolled into the countryside. My heart ached at leaving him, but each mile took me farther away from regret. The adventure of my life lay ahead of me. Pip's life changes when Mr. Jaggers announces he has a secret benefactor, funding his transformation into a gentleman. Excited yet conflicted, Pip leaves Joe and Biddy behind, feeling both lonely and eager for his new life in London. Lesson learned from this chapter: ambition and new opportunities often come with emotional costs. In pursuing dreams, we may face feelings of guilt, loneliness, or regret for leaving loved ones behind. True success lies in balancing personal growth with gratitude and connections to our roots. This ends Chapter 4. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more. See you next time.